welcome to my online studio. So I want to go through some Pilates tips for you today. My name's Jane. So let's talk about Pilates. When we're talking about Pilates, we often talk about our pelvic floor muscles. Now these attach to your front pubic bone, they run all the way underneath and attach to the end of your spine, your coccyx. So when you're desperate for the loo and you're sort of squeezing in, those are your pelvic floor muscles. Now you can try and see if you're activating your pelvic floor muscles by next time you're urinating, see if you can stop the flow halfway and then relax and let it go again. And then you'll know, those are your pelvic floor muscles that contract and relax. Now often these muscles work independently, they work on their own, you don't have to think about activating them, but sometimes they don't work very well. So that's when we need to work on our pelvic floor muscles. Okay, neutral spine. You want to be standing, ankles, knees, hips, shoulders and your ear all in a nice straight line. So you don't want a sort of Donald Duck or a gymnast sticking your bottom out, and we don't want a slouchy teenager or someone who sat at a computer too long. So finding your neutral spine, hands on your hips, and you're just going to have a little rock forward and back, tilting those hips. Now try not to bend your knees too much, think of the action coming from here in the middle, the pelvis. Alright, let's take it down to the floor. So, when we're lying on the floor, again, we want to find that neutral spine. So when you're lying on your back, we're just going to tilt that pelvis again, forwards and back. So as you're pointing forwards, you're tilting forwards, you're creating that big arch. I can get my whole arm underneath. And then if I take it the other way, I've got a flat back and nothing can get underneath. We want it halfway, so you could just get a piece of paper. Now everybody's back shape's slightly different, so you've got to find what's neutral for you. If you imagine a ruler balanced across your hips, we want it level with that pubic bone, so that's where our neutral spine is. Now again, we were thinking about drawing in pelvic floor underneath. We're not doing a tight contraction, it wants to be about 30%, so just a gentle engagement. Another way we can think about it is working these muscles that run across here. So this is your transverse abdominis, TBA. I want you to think of it as a belt and just gently tightening that belt an extra notch. Imagine you're trying to squeeze those hip bones together a little bit. However, try not to suck in up here, okay? So relax this part of your body, relax your breathing, your ribs, and it's just gently tightening here. Now sometimes you can place 2 fingers on that hip bone. Come in an inch, down an inch. Activate, and I can feel it's working. And relax. Nothing's moving here. Activate, it's turned on. Relax. So I'm just imagining I'm tightening a belt or squeezing up inside. So in my classes I'll use both, drawing pelvic floor, tightening that belt. And that's what those are referring to, those muscles. Now, we often refer to 90 degrees. That's your 90 degrees. Your shin is parallel to the ceiling, or as if you're resting your foot on a little coffee table. So don't have that leg too high, that's not 90 degrees. 90 degrees there. So if I look at my leg, I can't actually see my foot. Knee needs to be above your hip. So quite often, people let that leg come in a little bit too close. But again, if you take it away too far, that's putting a lot of pressure on your back. So 90 degrees is where we want it. Knee above hip, shin parallel. And this is obviously a level 1 position with one leg lifted. Level 2 position is with both legs lifted. Now one other common error happens when we do our bent knee scissors. So level 1, we start with feet on the floor, we lift one leg, and then we lift the other leg. That's generally not too bad. However, you can do that. And that's just moving from the knee. So think about that knee now. It's fixed at 90 degrees. I can't bend it, I'll straighten it. So it stays in that fixed position. So I've got to move my thigh from the hip socket. So that's the action it should be. Likewise, level 2, when you've got both legs lifted, I'm still moving that thigh. I'm not bending or straightening from the knee. So again, a common error here is people tend to do that. Alright, so think knee stays fixed, move your thigh. Great. So, that's a couple for Pilates users. Hope that helped, and I've got some more little short videos, beginner sequences, explanations of each individual exercise on my YouTube channel, Fit for Your Life. So check it out, send me a message if you want any more help. Thanks for watching.